In the eyes of many NFL scouts and analysts, Philadelphia Eagles general manager Howie Roseman just pulled off another masterpiece in the 2025 NFL draft. And at this point, is anyone even surprised anymore? It's almost becoming routine. The guy has a vision, sticks to it, and continues to build his Eagles roster like a championship winning machine. We've seen it time and time again, and once again, Roseman leaned into his favorite philosophy: dominating the trenches. Because for the Eagles, it's not just about skill positions, flashy names, or headlines. It's about being unbeatable in the physical battle at the line of scrimmage. And this year's draft, it was a perfect reflection of that mentality. Let's start with the offensive line, because that's where this class really shines. NFL offensive line expert Brandon Thorn, who studies the position with a microscope, had some strong words about the Eagles' decisions. Now, this is a guy who lives and breathes trench warfare, literally. His newsletter is called Trench Warfare. He's a respected voice in the space, a Joe Moore Award voter, and he's someone who knows exactly what elite line play looks like. And when it came to Philadelphia's picks, he was impressed. Despite already having one of the best offensive lines in football, the same line that helped power the team to a Super Bowl win and set Saquon Barkley up for a record-breaking rushing season, Roseman still went out and drafted not one, not two, but three more big guys up front. That's the mindset. Build strength on strength. You don't wait for weaknesses to appear. You reload before there's even a drop-off. So here's who they brought in. First, there's Drew Kendall, the center from Boston College, selected in the 5th round. Then Cameron Williams, offensive tackle out of Texas, taken in the 6th. And finally, another 6th rounder, Miles Hinton from Michigan, who transferred from Stanford. All three have serious potential, and Thorne gave them some pretty generous grades. He had Kendall graded as a late 4th rounder, Hinton also as a late 4th, and Williams, this is big, with a round 3 grade. That means the Eagles might have just landed one of the steals of the draft with Williams falling that far. Now, here's a cool little moment. Producer Reed, one of the legends behind the Eagles Now show, was on a flight to Philly for a wedding, and who does he end up sitting next to? None other than Cameron Williams himself. Imagine that. You're just flying in for a wedding, and bam, you're next to one of the newest Eagles rookies, probably heading in for rookie minicamp. That's the kind of stuff that gets fans hyped. But back to the picks, what makes them so interesting is that they don't just bring size. They bring pedigree, they bring potential, and they bring that classic Roseman DNA. Smart football players with strong NFL bloodlines. Drew Kendall and Miles Hinton, their dads combined for over 360 NFL starts. That's not nothing. That's huge. That's lived experience, passed down, learned from childhood. That's guys who grew up in NFL locker rooms. You can't teach that. Brandon Thorne, breaking down Kendall specifically, praised his experience and his fit in the Eagles system. 37 career starts, mostly at center, in a run-heavy, zone-based scheme. Sound familiar? Yeah, it mirrors exactly what Philly loves to do. Kendall's a technician. He understands leverage, uses angles, and has the play strength to lock down his blocks. Thorne even thinks he wins the backup center job outright. That's a big deal considering Cam Jurgens just got a major extension. Second highest average salary for a center in the league with the most guaranteed money at the position. So the team obviously believes in Jurgens, but Kendall gives them depth, flexibility, and insurance. And speaking of flexibility, if for some reason Jurgens needs to move to right guard, maybe if someone like Kenyon Green doesn't step up, Kendall could slide in and take over. Now, yes, that's assuming he gets some reps at guard because right now he's only played center. But the IQ, the technique, and the bloodline give him a real shot. Thorne also had good things to say about Williams and Hinton. He called them shrewd, high upside swings for swing tackle roles and additional competition at guard. That phrase says a lot. These aren't just throwaway picks. These are calculated gambles. The kind of moves a GM makes when he's thinking long term. Both Williams and Hinton are massive humans with raw, underdeveloped skill sets, but they landed in a perfect situation. And by perfect, I mean Jeff Stoutland. Because if you're an offensive lineman in the NFL and you find out you get to train under Jeff Stoutland, you should be dancing in your kitchen. That's the guy, the best in the business. And the Eagles' developmental pipeline under him? It's gold! Cameron Williams, for instance. He struggled a bit in the college football playoff, had some issues with speed rushers, and overall looked raw. But the tools, they're all there. If he'd gone back to Texas, refined his game, and cleaned up some of that technique, there's a world where we're talking about him as a first-round pick in 2026. That's how high his ceiling is. And even if tackle doesn't work out, there's every indication he could be a dominant guard. Just like the transition we saw with Mekhi Becton, Hinton, similar deal. He's probably more of a natural tackle, but the Eagles have shown they're open to shifting guys around. Take a big body, throw him inside, and see if it clicks. It's about versatility. It's about creating options. Now, the Eagles didn't stop there. They also picked up a massive undrafted free agent in Holland Pierce from Rutgers. And while Thorne didn't evaluate him specifically, he's another intriguing piece. Huge frame, long wingspan, and a track record of improvement every single season in college. Especially in the run game, he made big strides. The coaching staff sees a project, but one worth investing time in. If he hits, he's another guy that could become a dependable contributor in that Stoutland system. And here's the thing. This isn't just drafting for depth. This is how the Eagles maintain excellence. They don't wait for problems to appear. They solve them 2 years early. You look around the league and teams scramble to replace aging linemen. Philly, they already have the next man up in place. That's the Stoutland effect. That's the Howie Roseman blueprint, and this strategy works. Last year, Saquon Barkley had a season for the ages running behind this line. Jalen Hurts had time to operate, time to read the field, and time to win. The offensive line was a fortress, and yet Roseman still went out and drafted more guys because he knows the truth. Games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage. Outside of quarterback, the offensive line is arguably the most important group on any football team. And if you want to be a perennial contender, you build there first. But it wasn't just the offensive line that got attention. Scouts were buzzing about other picks too, especially Jihad Campbell. The Alabama linebacker fell all the way to pick 31. And that might end up being one of the steals of the entire draft. Multiple scouts said before the draft that Campbell had mid-first round talent. One even said he was a top 15 player. And when you watch the tape, it's easy to see why. This guy flies around the field like a missile, explosive, violent, and with a real edge to his game. He plays with what they call bad intentions, and I love that. You need that kind of energy on defense. Go watch the hit he laid on quarterback. Jackson Dart. Helmet went flying. That's the kind of tone-setting play that fans will remember. Campbell was the best defender on that Alabama defense, which says a lot. The Eagles had him graded as a top 10 player. To get him at 31, that's robbery. He was originally recruited as an edge rusher and has that pass rushing pedigree, but he's also athletic enough to cover and roam sideline to sideline. He's a tweener in the best possible way. Some scouts even compared him to Zach Bond, and that's not a stretch. Just like Bond, he can line up outside, rush the passer, or drop into coverage. That's versatility. That's a guy who can be used in a million different ways. Defensive coaches have raved about his instincts, range, burst, and ability to shed blocks. The only knock is that he's a little raw as a traditional stack linebacker. But who cares? The upside is too good to pass up. One coach flat out said he's the best inside linebacker in the class. Better than Edgerrin Cooper. More explosive. Higher football IQ. He might not be the guy with the green dot calling plays, and that's fine. He doesn't need to be. What he brings is pure impact. Andrew Mukuba is another name scouts were split on, but the Eagles clearly believe in him. He went at the end of the second round, and while some saw it as a reach, others think he's got huge potential. He's a little light, under 190 pounds, but man, he plays big. His tape at Clemson shows a guy who hits like a truck and covers a ton of ground. Played both nickel corner and safety. Fast, physical, and always around the ball. And the best part, lowest passer rating allowed among safeties in college football last year. That's real production. One scout called him a missile. Another said he didn't have the cleanest college tape, but is a better fit at safety. And when you see how much he loves to fly downhill and throw his body around, you get it. He's got some C.J. Gardner-Johnson to his game. Smaller frame, but huge energy, attitude, and toughness. That's the kind of player who can energize a defense. And we've still got more picks to talk about, more scouting feedback, more insight into why the Eagles might have just nailed another draft. But let's pause here and ask, how are you feeling about this draft class so far? Are you loving the approach? Are you hyped for what this group can become? All right, let's keep this train rolling because we're far from done breaking down what the Eagles did in this 2025 NFL draft. We already talked about the offensive line picks and the absolute value they got with Jihad Campbell, but now we've got more names, more reactions from NFL scouts, and even more insight into what could end up being one of the most well-rounded draft classes in recent Eagles history. Let's get into the pick that surprised a few people, Andrew. Mukuba. Like I said earlier, some viewed him as a bit of a reach late in the second round. But you know what? The more you dive into the tape and listen to what scouts are saying, the more this pick starts to make sense. Mukuba is a hybrid player. He's got the range and movement to be a safety, but the attitude and tackling ability to play in the box or cover from the slot. That kind of flexibility is gold in today's NFL. The league has moved past the days of one-dimensional safeties. Now, you've got to cover deep, play the run, slide into nickel, all of it. And Mukuba is exactly that kind of chess piece. One scout said he tees off on people. Another described him as twitchy and explosive, with solid slot coverage and really good ranges at deep safety. He may not have the ideal build, under 190 pounds and a bit wiry, but his speed, aggression, and physicality more than make up for it. He's not afraid to throw his body around, and he plays like he's 20 pounds heavier than he is. Sure, he had some misses at Clemson, but it's because of how fast he plays. He's a missile. Sometimes those guys whiff, but when they connect, it's game-changing. And what stands out is how much NFL coaches still believe in his potential. One defensive backs coach said straight up, he thinks Mukuba is going to be a starter. He said he's undervalued and that people are sleeping on him. And let's not forget, and he posted the lowest passer rating allowed of any safety in college football last year. That is not a fluke. That is a stat that matters. When quarterbacks throw at you and come up empty, that says something. The Eagles also picked up a guy who's turning heads on social media, Ty Robinson. Now this dude is built like a tank, massive frame, plays with power, and has that raw, gritty energy you love to see in a defensive lineman. And guess what people are saying? He's getting early comparisons to none other than J.J. Watt. Now, I'm not saying he's the next Watt, but when scouts start tossing that name around, you pay attention. What makes Robinson intriguing is his explosiveness for a guy his size. He ran a 4.8 40-yard dash at nearly 290 pounds. That's serious athleticism. One scout said he's a bull in a china shop. Heavy hands, quick first step, relentless motor. He's got the kind of power that can collapse a pocket and the movement skills to play in different spots across the line. And in Vic Fangio's scheme, that versatility matters. Robinson can line up at defensive end, kick inside, and give you pressure from multiple alignments. That kind of flexibility is exactly what this coaching staff wants. The only knock is that when he gets tired, his pad level can rise, and he starts to get a little sloppy with his hands. But that's conditioning. That's coachable. What you can't teach is that raw power, that high motor, and that ability to wreck blocks. One scout said he knocks offensive linemen off their feet. That doesn't happen by accident. That's strength. That's natural force. And if the Eagles can harness it, clean up the technique, get him in that NFL weight room, he could be a major problem for offensive lines across the league. Now let's talk about McKinstry. Actually, scratch that. Let's pivot to another defender who's flying under the radar but getting some love from insiders. Smile Mondon. First off, what a name. But beyond that, he's a seriously athletic linebacker who led his position group at the NFL Combine in both the broad jump and the bench press. That's explosion. That's strength. And the Eagles got him without using a top pick. That's value. Mondon comes out of Georgia, which we all know by now is an NFL pipeline, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He's a rangy sideline-to-sideline type who can blitz, cover ground, and make plays in space. One scout said he's a run-and-chase player with a great interior blitzing skill set. And even though he's still working on his coverage instincts, he's the kind of player who flashes in the film room. He reacts. He flies. He hits. Now, yes, the instincts aren't all the way there yet. And yes, he battled some injuries in college, but when he's healthy, when he's locked in, he's disruptive. One scout put it best: he relies more on his athletic ability than his instincts. But that's okay when the athleticism is that elite. You develop the instincts, you coach that, you mold that. What you can't manufacture is a guy who's 6'3", 230 pounds, and moves like a safety. And this brings us to one of the most intriguing stories from the post-draft period, Maxon Hook. Now, not many people were talking about this guy, but there's real buzz coming from inside NFL circles. The Eagles scooped him up as an undrafted free agent out of Toledo, and people who know ball are saying he might be a hidden gem. The guy played the old school monster back position, kind of a hybrid linebacker safety role. And a couple of scouts straight up said he could have gone in the 3rd or 4th round. One AFC scout said he's big, he's fast, and he's going to be a special team stud right away. And that's exactly where a lot of great players earn their stripes. Special teams is the gateway to the field. You shine there and coaches start trusting you with more reps. And when it comes to Hook, he was the glue in that Toledo defense. The communicator, the enforcer, the steady hand. That matters. Let's not forget, Nick Sirianni has a deep relationship with that Toledo program. He knows the coaches. He trusts their development. Last year, the Eagles took Quinion Mitchell out of that same program, and he's already looking like a long-term starter. Hook shared a secondary with him, and scouts say he brings that same energy. He's physical, he's smart, and he plays with a chip on his shoulder. So when you zoom out and look at this entire Eagles draft class, it's hard not to be impressed. They addressed both lines, added depth, added future starters, added high upside projects. They picked up a linebacker in Campbell who could become a defensive cornerstone. They grabbed versatile defensive backs like Mukuba and potentially Hook. They took chances on athletic freaks like Robinson and Mondon, and they didn't overreach. They trusted their board, trusted their system, and let the draft come to them. And the best part, these guys are walking into a locker room that knows how to win. They're stepping into a culture of accountability, of excellence, of expectation. That matters. Because when you combine talent with structure, when you drop raw athletes into a proven development pipeline, that's when special things happen. This is how dynasties are built. Not by chasing headlines, not by swinging for the fences on 1 or 2 picks, but by stacking wins, by making smart picks year after year. By reinforcing your strengths, not just plugging your weaknesses. That's the Howie Roseman way. That's the Eagles way. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Philadelphia Eagles have just made a splash in the offseason with the signing of one of the NFL's most dynamic and skilled safeties, Marcus Williams. The highly anticipated move has sent waves of excitement throughout the city of brotherly love as fans eagerly await the arrival of this playmaking safety to bolster their defense. Williams, known for his impeccable ball skills and ability to read the game, comes to Philadelphia after an impressive tenure with the New Orleans Saints, where he earned a reputation as one of the league's premier safeties. Over his career, Williams has demonstrated his knack for making crucial plays at pivotal moments, and his ability to create turnovers will be a welcome addition to the Eagles' defense. Eagles fans are hoping Williams can replicate his success in Philly, particularly with his ability to cover ground and his knack for making interceptions. He is already regarded as one of the most complete safeties in the game, and the expectation is that he will complement the existing defensive backfield in Philadelphia. Paired with the likes of Darius Slay and James Bradbury, Williams' versatility and football IQ give the Eagles an elite secondary that can challenge any quarterback in the league. The signing of Williams also marks a strategic move by the Eagles' front office, signaling their intent to stay competitive in a tough NFC East division. With the team already boasting a potent offense led by Jalen Hurts, the defense was the clear area of focus during the offseason. and Williams is seen as the missing piece to make this defense truly formidable. While some fans may be cautious about the long-term effects of the signing, the immediate impact is undeniable. Williams' arrival brings leadership and experience to a secondary that has seen its share of ups and downs in recent seasons. His ability to read offenses and make split-second decisions will add an extra layer of security for the Eagles' defense as they look to reclaim their dominance in the NFC. In addition to his skills on the field, Williams' professionalism and work ethic have been praised by coaches and teammates alike. His mature approach to the game and ability to lead by example will undoubtedly have a positive influence on the locker room and younger players, particularly in a defensive unit that will benefit from his mentorship. As the Eagles prepare for the upcoming season, the acquisition of Marcus Williams represents a significant step forward in their quest for another Super Bowl appearance. Fans in Philadelphia are buzzing with excitement, eagerly awaiting the first glimpse of Williams in the midnight green uniform, and hoping that this move will help bring the team closer to their ultimate goal of NFL supremacy. The celebration is well underway, and for the Eagles, it seems like the future just got a whole lot brighter. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.